Hey y'all, Scott here, and man oh man do I ever hate Nintendo. That's why I bought all these games, just to make fun of them. Sigh, gosh, do I loathe this dumb company and all of their stupid loser fans. Fans who are all more than likely mega virgins. Me on the other hand, they call me the anti-virgin. Everybody who is or was at some point a virgin is a major loser, or as I like to call them, a Nintendo fan. Listen, I like the Wii U, but even I think people with a case of fanboyitis have to admit it wasn't Nintendo at their greatest. And I personally think it's a good time to reflect on the system, as the Switch is coming out and we want to make sure Nintendo doesn't do the same things all over again. And don't worry, we're going to be looking at what the Wii U did right too on another occasion. But for now, here are 6 problems the Wii U had. The Wii U launched at $300 for the basic set, which was simply the base system and gamepad in a white color with 8GB of internal storage, and $350 for the deluxe set, which was the system and gamepad in black with 32GB of storage, Nintendo Land, and a few accessories. Obviously, this was a bit of a higher price point for what many would consider the budget console or secondary system, and it definitely showed in sales. The system started out okay enough, but tanked almost immediately after launch. Nintendo tried to solve this by basically discontinuing the basic set and lowering the price of the deluxe set to $300. Now, why would they get rid of the basic set? Couldn't they have just lowered the SKU's price by $50 as well? At least then Nintendo could have promoted the fact that the Wii U started at a pretty crisp $250. But it's whatever. The Wii U basically got a price cut in 2013, but it never got any more after that. $300 has been the price of the Wii U ever since, and it's gonna look kind of funky next to the brand new Nintendo Switch sitting next to the remaining unsold Wii U stock at the same price point. Instead of simply slashing the price and taking loss to get more systems into more households, or redesigning the Wii U to cut costs, Nintendo just kept on throwing more games into the package to showcase value in the purchase. But the problem is, the price was already too high. Throwing more and more games into the box doesn't attract people, and the price for the Wii U is still $300. Yeah, you are getting a pretty good deal, but the price is just not appealing to consumers when the PS4 and Xbox One were originally hovering around that price, and currently are or even lower than $300. Let's take a look at a handful of games Nintendo released for the Wii U, and similar games in the same franchises Nintendo released on the Nintendo 3DS.
Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, Hyrule Warriors Legends, Zelda Remakes HD, Zelda Remakes 3D, Lego City Undercover, The Chase Begins, Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 7, Mario Party 10, Mario Party Island Tour, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, Mario Tennis Open, NES Remix, Ultimate NES Remix, New Super Mario Bros. U, New Super Mario Bros. 2, Paper Mario Color Splash, Paper Mario Sticker Star, Star Fox Zero, Star Fox 64 3D, Super Mario 3D World, Super Mario 3D Land, Super Mario Maker for Nintendo 3DS, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, Yoshi's Woolly World, Poochy Yoshi's Woolly World.
Instead of creating unique new experiences for Wii U, it just seemed like Nintendo took 3 existing engines from 3DS games and made new Wii U games out of them. Now, if you were just an everyday fellow lurking around a Best Buy for no apparent reason and you had a yearning to play the latest Smash Bros. Game, what would you buy? A 2DS and Smash Bros. For a grand total of $120, or a Wii U and Smash Bros. For a grand total of $360? That is literally 3 times the price. And yes, it is a better experience on the Wii U, but for people who just want to play a couple Nintendo games, it's obvious you should probably just get a 3DS because most games Nintendo released on the Wii U have 3DS counterparts or ports now, and you would save a fortune by going the 3DS route. The Wii U just didn't have enough unique experiences to call its own, and it just kind of felt like the 3DS HD in a lot of cases. It's a bit weird because when you think about it, the Wii U's main competitor wasn't the PS4 or the Xbox One, but it was the 3DS. Nintendo wanted the Wii U to appeal to everybody, but that made the messaging feel unfocused, and overall it made the Wii U appeal to barely any of the people Nintendo wanted to reel in with the console. Is it a console for the hardcore? Or is it for the casuals? Or is it for the die-hard Nintendo fans? I don't think Nintendo even knew. Like, why is Nintendo saying this is them wanting to regain the hardcore audience, but all the advertisements feel like sock puppet shows? Of course, their advertisements during the Wii U era were mainly garbage. Almost all commercials were directed towards young children, but in my opinion, those kind of ads don't appeal to anybody really. The kids want what the older kids are playing, and kind of talking down to them in commercials didn't win any of them over. Also, nobody knew the thing was released. I think people just assumed Nintendo went bankrupt for the past 5 years or something. And the publicity Nintendo got from this era, oy vey. Many will tell you any publicity is good publicity, but for Nintendo's past 5 years, that's a solid no. Nintendo's YouTube copyright policy, no E3 press conferences, lackluster sales, third-party support dropping like mad. Yikes, right? Nintendo had no idea how to market the Wii U, and the marketing they did do did nothing for the system, mainly because the price and the games weren't compelling features. Most Nintendo-made Wii U games were good, but they were too similar to games people already had or could get for much cheaper on the 3DS. and the price just never came down after 2013. They needed to finely tune who the system was for before launch, because it ended up being a jack-of-all-trades, master of none. It's like Nintendo was saying, we can give you all these third-party games that are on the Xbox and the PlayStation, and all the casual games from the Wii, and all the new Nintendo games, but focusing on all of those made each of those categories feel unfocused. And welcome back to Name the Console, the incredibly lackluster game show in which we list dozens of video games and accessories with a video game console slipped in, and you have to figure out which one is the console. Only God knows how many more episodes we have left. Let's go! Wii Wheel, Wii Music, Wii Speak, Wii Motion Plus, Wii U, Wii Balance Board, Wii Chess, Wii Classic Controller. Nintendo is one of the most stubborn companies out there. They could have easily sold a solid 2 million more consoles if they didn't have to be so cutesy and just call the thing Wii 2. Naming it Wii blank throws it in the category of peripheral, game, or I'm not a new console. Maybe in terms of design, they also shouldn't have just taken a sander to the edges of the Wii. The fact that it's almost indistinguishable from the Wii and has the name that echoes Nintendo's messaging on what qualifies as an accessory for the Wii era makes the name and design of the Wii U one of the easiest flaws to point out. This one's a pretty easy one to point out. The Wii U's third-party support was a constant stream of, this isn't working out. Third parties didn't want to invest too much into the console, so they just quickly ported some games to the Wii U. These obviously didn't sell for a variety of reasons. One, a lot of these ports were not so hot. Most were missing content like DLC, modes, multiplayer, etc. Two, a fair amount of these games were released later than their 360 or PS3 counterparts. If somebody wanted to play Mass Effect 3, they more than likely did so when it came out in March 2012. They wouldn't buy a Wii U to play that version of the game 8 months later. 3, there weren't a lot of third-party games that appealed to the main demographic of the console, that being die-hard Nintendo fans. Listen, I'm not saying Nintendo fans don't like games like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed and Mass Effect and Watch Dogs. A lot of them do. However, if they like those games, they more than likely have a better console to play them on. The people who only have a Wii U, those games probably don't appeal to them as much. They like games like platformers and RPGs, like Sonic and Bravely Default and Shovel Knight. I constantly see that the third-party games that do the best on Nintendo platforms are games that feel very Nintendo. The Wii U mainly had third-party games that would appeal to the Xbox demographic, and like I said, there are loads of Nintendo fans who like those games. But if they like those games, that means they probably have a console that plays them. Couple that with the fact that the third parties just stopped supporting the console with their lackluster late ports, and it definitely is understandable why the Wii U had such a small library and why third-party games didn't sell well on it. A screen on a controller isn't interesting to most consumers. Yeah, when you think about it, the tech is pretty impressive. It's streaming video with barely any lag from the console to the controller with no internet connection. But the Wii U was released when tablets were a major thing. The Wii didn't capitalize on a craze, the Wii invented a craze. While I don't feel like the Wii U was solely the way it was because of the popularity of tablets, it was released at a time when everybody had tablets, and thus it didn't have a wow factor really at all. So there were 6 problems with the Wii U, and overall, I did like the Wii U. I thought it had a lot of great games on it, games like Pikmin 3 and Mario Kart 8 and Smash Brothers for Wii U and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and Splatoon. These are all wonderful games, but they were on a console with a multitude of problems, and thankfully it seems like the Nintendo Switch is rectifying a lot of these problems. Hopefully they ease up on censorship as well. Riddle me this, Nintendo! Why can't I name my character Mr. Ass, but I can look up dead dogs on the Wii U's web browser?